China's farming officers are here. History says the last time they tried to control farmers, it led to a great famine. Let's talk about it. Welcome to China Insider. I'm David Zhang. Before we get started, please subscribe to our channel and like this video so it can be spread around on YouTube, and comment below what your thoughts are on today's topic. Now, there's a new type of rural management officers, and they're targeting the farmers in the countryside. And since most young and able men and women went to the city for work, what's left in the countryside are kids and grandparents. The CCP is finally reaching out to try to rob the old and the young to abuse them. Now, this is just one of those CCP ideas that sounds great on paper, horrible in practice, and definitely didn't go through the proper thought process. These rural officers will now attempt to teach farmers how to farm, enforce licensing to farm, and take up a whole array of enforcement parameters. And those that do the job are power-tripping thugs. In this video, this rural officer says, quote, "Royal Charter preemptive strike." And that basically means he's been given a special permission from above to act and a license to harm. The CCP found a new way to rob its people, it seems, and they want to punish pig farmers by charging them an environmental protection fee and then punish farmers with pesticide fees for planting vegetables. And when it comes to robbing farmers, what better way to add than a sustainable robbery range of fees? And this is, of course, the news of the rural officers coming out recent days that people started to notice, and they immediately thought about their city counterparts. The urban management officers. Now, these are not police officers, but somehow carry batons and harass people. Basically, the rural officers are a copycat of the city-level law enforcement officials. They're not a police, again, but do actually work somehow like a police officer. Well, what exactly is the point of these rural and city officers? I think of it as enslavement of the people. Now, there's city managers or officers, there's traffic managers, and now there's going to be rural managers. Aside from beating up small business and street vendors and robbing stores, they don't really do much to stop crime or protect people. Well, they do participate in the occasional stage performances like this one in the rain, helping out a cart vendor. Man, the city officers are basically gang thugs that extort money from street vendors for the sake of keeping the city clean, like ganging up on a woman on a bike, taking a pork vendor's truck, stealing their fruits. Now the local governments are eyeing the countryside, farmers. And you guessed it, the rural officers will try to teach those farmers how to farm the proper way, how to feed their livestock, and most importantly, how to pay the government. And they're all really productive folks. Just look at this video. 4 uniformed men trying to capture a chicken. Or this. This is the scene of these rural officers training hard and practicing shoveling dirt. Now, this is apparently a practice land for the officers, like a dirt gym on their job. Or this, taking a farmer's fridge because it somehow violates farming. Or this, using a road roller to destroy their harvest. So yeah, I've yet to see conclusive evidence on how this is beneficial for farmers. Oh, did I mention that they already are charging people a fee in the village? Right now, it's about $10 per year, but soon, as many believes, will probably reach a sky-high amount for the farmers as more services are provided. Well, what exactly are the services provided by the rural officers? I'm glad you asked. They are supposed to abide by these 6 prohibitions. Well, according to them, these rural officers are not allowed to bend the law for personal gain, shelter violators, not allowed to exceed law enforcement, violating of procedures to handle the case, not allowed to interfere with normal business activities of the market, not allowed to use their positions to profit for themselves and their friends and relatives, not allowed to enforce the law arbitrarily, light and heavy to punish the management, not allowed to be rude. But as we've seen in the videos, usually in practice, things are a little bit different. They basically break every rule possible. Some people are making fun of the rural police already. Some people are already making fun of these rural officers, saying that once they arrive, they're going to start managing the fish, teaching the fish how to swim in the pond, and issue them a swimming license after, and then fine them if they start swimming in the wrong ponds at the wrong time. So back to their service. They basically are just a pain for the farmers and nothing else. Basically saying that these people do nothing but harm wherever they go. Now, according to reports, this rural police system can have wide-ranging jurisdictions from the general farming rules enforcement to rural management to assigning tickets for violations, and there will be a lot of violations. In one account, they're seen telling farmers in their 50s and 60s to pass a how to farm licensing test, which have people will line up, start spraying pesticides in a way, and it's an exam to show the police, or in this case, these officers, how to farm. That's gained an uproar on the internet for how ridiculous this sounds. I mean, I'm pretty sure they know how to farm. And one grandpa apparently ended up in the hospital because he just got so mad at this testing. And in one case, they are banning farmers from hanging their blankets outside on a tree. And then another account says the rural managers are telling this guy who owns a fish farm to stop planting corn and beans near the pond, and that it will be blocking the view of the pond. But apparently cucumbers are okay. But what is the difference between beans and corns and cucumbers? Not so sure. That's not all. According to a purchase list, these rural officers can acquire walkie-talkies, stab-proof vests, first aid kits, signal jammers, recording cameras and pens, and much more. Pretty well equipped for farming management, right? Because you definitely need walkie-talkies, signal jammers, and stab-proof vests to farm. From the list of things these thugs will actually be enforcing include things like banning farmers from selling their own livestock, banning them from burning stubbles to refresh the soil and remove wastes, banning them from cutting down their own trees, banning them from planting vegetables in the front yard, and barring ancestral rights. In total, the rural officers can basically manage up to around 31 areas of the lives of these countryside farmers. And the most important one is obviously, can they farm? How to farm? What to plant, where to grow, many of that thing basically needs to be done under the supervision of these new officers. Not only do these rural officers know basically nothing about farming, they also are blind to the life of the farmers. At least one thing is certain, they're certainly not here to help the people to farm. Farmers know their land the best. Many techniques, experiences, and even cultures around these land took hundreds and thousands of years to develop. And these farmers know the seasons, the crop rotation, the rain season, the drought season. Not even an agricultural scientist would probably want to tell the farmers in the area how to do things, let alone should these thugs, right? Imagine if the US government told American farmers how to plant their crop. The most worrying part about all this is that the agricultural management doesn't actually know about cultivation of the land, but try to, again, do so anyway against the laws of nature and science. And it's actually a pretty funny but sad topic because history has already seen what happens when they play with fire, in this case, try to manage the farmers. Back in the Mao Zedong era, they tried to do the same to control farmers, right? Mao's People's Commune, which basically were workers' dorms and farming brigades, they took all the land under the control of the CCP. There was all public land. Then they allocated commune lunch and dinner for the farm workers. So basically, the more you farmed, the more points that you got, and then you can actually eat at these large cafeterias. And once there was no more private land, they started to mandate measures on farmers. It got to a point where they started to mandate numbers of livestock that one household can have. For example, if the regulation says you're only allowed 3 chicken and you had 4, then it will be seen as you're an anti-communist seeking the pleasure of capitalism. Because apparently, if the rural inspectors came and saw that you have more chickens than 3 or whatever number that was mandated, and the chickens laid too many eggs, that means you must be secretly trying to sell the eggs for a profit. Or if your apple tree had more than 20 apples, let's say, on it, the same thing. It means that you must be trying to make a profit. So they'll just cut down your tree. That's the irony of the extreme leftist view of communism. It's the ridiculousness that having one more chicken or one too many apples will be seen as a crime.
Right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail.
The rural officers are actually encouraged to crack down on behaviors they deemed unlawful. In the CCP's thuggery context, they could be anything. And they love giving out fines, taking away people's farming gear, and attacking them if the farmers try to challenge their ridiculousness. It's a backward attempt of Mao's era today, and it could inevitably lead to the breaking down of the already fragile Chinese agriculture. Of course, that China is a country with too many mouths to feed. They rely mostly on imports of grain as we speak, and the deterioration of arable land continues because of the bad management of the CCP policies. The additional layer of this unnecessary management system will only further accelerate the breakdown of China's domestic food production. In fact, I think in addition to the northeastern part of China, the Yangtze River Delta and the Pearl River Delta, other places are basically plateaus, mountains, and hills. So the quality of the land and soil is pretty bad, and planting crops doesn't give you the best yield and the best quality for profit. During the 60s, the land in China was not given proper care, and the Communist Party continued to harm the soil by planting for the sake of yield. Farmers have always been verbally cherished by the CCP as the core of the party, yet their actions have always reflected the opposite. Because farmers don't get paid enough, pension when they retire. There's many lands that are demolished or ruined by the government, and they're not given policies or incentives to work. Many online complain that farmers face unfriendly rural policies already, and this has caused farmers to gradually disappear and grievances in the countryside to rise. And then to set up a farm management and enforcement team is really to continue to shackle the farmers' necks. And the others have complained that the problem is not really managing the farm, but rather it's about targeting the pensions of farmers, the farming systems themselves, the problems that face farmers every day. Those are the real issues that the CCP continue to overlook. There's also other factors that cannot be managed, such as drought, flood, other natural disasters, but the CCP's past doings have showed us that they will attempt to beat nature and artificially try to generate this goal that somehow the production that year will meet. Like the cause of the 3-year famine from 1959 to 61, it was caused by overproduction, radical agricultural policies, social pressure, economic mismanagement, and natural disasters, all of which can be avoided minus natural disasters. And that really reflects the reality today that the CCP is trying to rob from every single part of the population, young, old, college students, workers, old people, farmers, people that don't really have a survivable state in China, and that idea is becoming more and more apparent as each day go by. All right, that's it today for the China Insider episode on how they're basically now trying to manage farmers again in China, and that could be really, really, really bad. All right, if you enjoyed the content, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, comment below what your thoughts are on the topic today. I'm David Zhang. This is China Insider. We'll see you next time.